Okay, this is the last video, and I just went ahead and did a bar graph too, so you could see it didn't have to be a scatter plot with a trend line. And in this case, I compared the pre-assessment with the post-assessment, how many A's, B's, C's, D's, and F's were in the class. And you kind of see with the pre-assessment, we've got a lot of F's going on, but with the post-assessment, we have this kind of bimodal pattern. We're increasing towards the F's, and we also have a lot of A's and B's, but not a whole lot happening in the middle. Um, so that's another option for the types of things that you could graph. I went back through and I did some additional conditional formatting, and I just wanted to show you how this can be useful. So I color coded the questions based on whether they got them correct, partially correct, or incorrect. And what you immediately notice once you get the color in there is that some questions have a lot more incorrect answers showing up than others. And as you move towards the end of the test, we're seeing a ton of issues getting correct answers on questions 23 and 24. And yes, that is reflected in the average score, but I just like having this visual color coding also. So that's something that I've done. The last thing I wanted to show you has to do with part 2 and might make it a little easier, and that's the sort function. So I went back to the classroom data tab, and on the classroom data tab, if you highlight all of the students and their scores, you can sort this according to different variables. So you could sort this according to their post-test score. So I'll do that first. I'll highlight all of that. I'm going to go to data. I'm going to choose sort range. And the post-test is column D. So instead of sorting by column A, I'm going to sort by column D and see what happens here. Yeah, you don't need to warn me for another 5 minutes. I know I'm messing with the data. And so now it's sorted by their post-test score. So we see the lowest scores on the top, the highest scores on the bottom. And what other patterns do we see emerging here? We see SPED services pretty much across the board, the LEP, ELL. We don't see a lot on the high end, but it's fairly spread out. We're noticing a lot more tardies, absences, and disciplines occurring towards the bottom of the score range. So that's a piece of evidence there. It's a pattern that we can observe. But there are lots of different ways that you can sort this. What if we sorted it by the pre-assessment scores? Sort range, I'm going to look at column B. What do we notice if we sort by pre-assessments? So the lowest pre-assessments are at the top. The highest pre-assessments are at the bottom. I'm not seeing near as much of a pattern to this one. We could sort by the number of discipline issues or the number of absences. Let's do absences. Data, we're going to sort by column G. What else do we notice happening? Okay, so 0 absences is happening at the top. We do have one student here who does not have very many absences, and up there with all the ones that are scoring in the green that's getting an F on the post-assessment. So that's a student I definitely check in on. As we move towards the bottom, with the more absences, we're noticing the raw scores on their post-assessment tend to be lower. This is a pattern you would expect. I'm also seeing a really, really high correlation between the number of days absent and the tardies and the number of discipline issues. Look at how all of those block together. So this is a group of students. If we look at these students right here, that are going to need some significant interventions. And look at this. If you look over at the SPED services, the majority of them are also receiving SPED services. So this might lead me to question, is there enough scaffolding in my assignments? Can they really access the material that we're teaching? What would I need to do to differentiate for this group of students so that they can be more successful on the post-assessment? Or is it just related to the fact that they are literally not in class? There could be a lot of different answers, but being able to look at the data and sort it by different factors can really help you identify patterns and figure out things that you can do as a teacher to make yourself better. So I hope that these little tools will help you when you work on part 2 of Module C and start looking at the data analysis. I want to reinforce again that really It's not about the overall score, it's about, can students do each of the skills that we want them to learn during the unit? They're rocking this skill, but boy, this one, even though the average test score isn't so bad, this one really is concerning. We definitely have to go back and reteach Learning Target F. Hope you're having a good day. Thank you for watching.